Hi guys, we're here at Axpona, and for the Axpona show we have brought a few new things that we have not shown in the US before. We have the M2 speakers, we have a phono stage that allows for the DS cartridge, and we have these bass modules, and I will talk a little bit about the bass modules. The bass module as a whole, as a concept, is a folded dipole. That means we have no rear, we have no front chamber. So there's basically no chamber. Instead, the pressure waves can move around. And that means that if you look at a room, a typical room, you have reflections, and you have back and forth, and you have room nodes. But there's one giant node in a room. That's the volume. You have the flexibility of the air and the volume of the air, and that creates a huge resonance. But when you have this open system, it doesn't get excited. So you don't get these special booms and congestions from subwoofers in the room. So that takes sort of like room interaction to a fully new level where you don't create problems. Instead, you don't get room interactions the same way with this type of subwoofer. And everything here is run on an analog filter, so you don't get timing discrepancies. A normal subwoofer that has a DSP is very flexible, but you have a 20 milliseconds delay, and that makes it virtually impossible to integrate that with any hi-fi speaker. So for music reproduction, normal subwoofers, no matter what brand it is, when they have a DSP, they are void. They cannot work. But this has an analog filter. We have an analog filter built in here where we can adjust the volume, frequencies, settings and thus integrate it with the speakers on the side. We can also have them run with the built-in crossover bypassed, and then use the filters that we have in our 880 preamp. We have a sub filter in that. I think the performance speaks for itself, the way it times the music. And when you have good sub, it's not about getting more bass. You do get more bass, but it's more about getting texture in the mid-range and the treble. So when they strike a hi-hat, you can feel it also. So you get more texture, you get more clarity throughout the full range throughout the full frequency range. I think it's a magnificent piece we have created. It's been a long time cooking, so this is iteration 3, and it has to do with the width of the slots. Depth has to be perfectly sized. They are 8-inch drivers, so there's 4 8-inch drivers in this, and they push the air and create pressure in there, and it shoots the pressure out, and so you get air motion. And if you look at normal instruments like a kick drum, it's a ring of wood and a membrane or skin, and you hit it with a hammer, and that shoots. But also the pressure wave there can go to the backside. If you have a double bass playing, you will hear the bass, but it can short circuit itself, so you don't get pressure. You just hear the bass, and this does the same. I think it's a phenomenal way of enhancing your musical experience from a system. I think these will cost roughly $20,000 US a piece. Is that correct, Lars?
Yeah.
Yeah.